Hello, everyone, and welcome in for your daily card pull. So, this is for Monday, July 24th. I hope everybody had a good weekend, and let's see what messages are coming in as we start off this week. So, let's jump right in with our fire signs. That's our Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And what message does the universe have for you for today, on Monday? The Hierophant. So this is that leadership, mentoring, your kind of like your calling, your higher calling, being a leader, like that type of energy. So either that's what's in store for you today, that you have the opportunity to display that, or the calling from the universe might be saying you need to step into that to address whatever situation is percolating. So let's take a look at your soul journey card and see what comes up there. Happiness. I am aware that being happy means that I am on the right path. So with this one being about your higher calling, some of this could be a matter of, do you feel happy? Do you feel like you have that sense of happiness during the day? And if you do, then that means that you're probably on the right path. When something feels off, it's often because you're not on the right path. That doesn't mean that the right path is easy. Usually the right path and the easy path are not the same. But the easy one, you may get a little quick hit off of it, but that's not what's really going to help you grow in the long run. It's not going to give you that deep inner peace and happiness. So let's see what Sacred Creator card is coming through for you. One step ahead is all you need. And, it's kind of that, and I usually butcher this expression, but like the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So you may not be able to get all the way from here to there in one fell swoop, but you have to start somewhere. I was listening to a daily reading earlier today, and it was about the whole thing of, people so often you identify, I don't want to be where I am right now. I want to be here. But part of it is that journey. If you skip over the whole middle part, then you're kind of missing a lot of the lessons. If you rush through it too fast, you don't have a chance to absorb what the lesson is that you're supposed to be learning, which usually means you end up repeating that lesson. So let's see what romance card is in the store for you. Free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. And so this is a really powerful message, especially as we look at it in the context of, the recent shifts. We've had a lot of heavy energy for the last week or so, and continuing to have heavy energy with Venus going retrograde in Leo. Was that on Saturday? And then Chiron going retrograde in Aries yesterday. But the big heavy energy from a week ago was that North Node shift, where it's really pushing you to stand in your truth, and that's what's going to be taking you along your path. It's going to be leading you in that direction. What are the things you're supposed to achieve or learn in this lifetime? That's what your North Node is all about. And that moved into Aries, and so we're doing our fire signs right now. So that Aries fire energy. And with Chiron going retrograde in Aries, there's a lot of big, heavy energy out there for our Aries. But this is just highlighting that message again. If you're being called to be in that teacher, mentor, guru, like leader type of energy, look at the fact that, like, with your happiness, one step ahead is all you need. Free yourself. That message is lining up pretty strong, that you're in a situation that you're not really loving it. You're not getting all the warm and fuzzies out of it. You've probably been kind of stuck in that situation because you feel like you're supposed to be there. The whole North Node shift and all of that was really one of the big messages to bring into alignment, is balancing out that energy of I'm doing right by everybody else around me and doing what's good for them versus what is good for me. Kind of that healthy dose of selfishness of, I need to be happy and feeling fulfilled in order to spread my light and spread that love to people around me. And so that message that, free yourself, happiness, one step forward is all you need. All of those, when you put them together, is really pointing you at, stand in your truth. Be unapologetically you. And yes, that may lead to some of the players or situations in your life changing, but have that faith and confidence in the universe, in God, in spirit, in divine, however you identify with that, that as you step into that, it raises your vibration and it's going to call in your soul tribe. It's going to call in others that are at that same vibration. So, part of this Chiron and retrograde is seeing what all healing needs to be done, what all wounds are there. And sometimes, and it's tough, it's moving people or situations out of your life that are no longer serving you so that you can be in connection with ones who are. So next up is our earth signs. So your card for Monday, for today, the 24th, is the Tower. This is generally one of the most, I'll call it, feared cards in the tarot deck. We've talked about this before, that in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's literally a tower that has gotten struck by lightning and people are falling out of it, and it's terrible. In the Star Trek The Next Generation, the tower is the Borg. And there, if you're not a Trekkie, resistance is futile. That's what the Borg says as they assimilate other civilizations into theirs, but it's resistance is futile. So this is the universe saying, hey, something needs to give, push, and changing it for you. So it's quick, unexpected changes. There's some upheaval, meaning, you have those feelings of lack of direction, lack of security, what's going to happen, lack of stability. But remember that sometimes the old rundown building needs to be bulldozed to be able to build the new solid, happy structure for you. So your soul journey card, indecision. And the mantra to go with that is, I use my intuition in all aspects of life. So there's something that you've been thinking about, some situation, whether it's a job, a life path, a relationship, a friendship, whatever the case may be, and you've been really indecisive. You don't know which direction to go. You're probably kind of, some days you're on this side, some days you're on that side. You've kind of been wavering back and forth. And I guess expect, whether it's specifically today on Monday, it's not necessarily Monday at 11 a.m. this is happening, but expect that this tower is coming. The longer you push off making a decision, there's a natural flow to things. There's divine, like destined and fated events that are supposed to be happening in your life. There's lessons you're supposed to learn. There's ones that you decided before this incarnation, lessons to learn. And if you're stuck right now and you've been in this state of indecision, if you don't make the decision, it's going to be made for you. You can control the flow of a big change better if you're the one leading it, but at some point the universe is going to say, you know what, this is what's got to happen. If you're going to keep ignoring it, the signs are going to get louder and louder and louder until a tower moment comes. You are light. And that's kind of that reminder, to some extent, whether you call it light, whether you call it energy, we are not physical beings. We are souls who are inhabiting a physical vessel to experience this lifetime on Earth. We're triune beings. We're body, mind, soul. It's kind of generally understood that you are not your body. Um, when someone says, oh, they love you with all their heart, it's not literally their heart. People tend to, get that pretty easily. If you have a heart transplant, it's not like all of a sudden your, your love for another person changes. But a lot of times people get tripped up thinking that their thoughts, their emotions, their, mental narratives are them, and it's not. That's your thoughts and your emotions. You are your soul. So you are light. Remember, as you're maybe stuck in that place of indecision and what do I do? What do I do? Try to take a step back and say, what is the lesson here? If I signed up for this life and certain lessons, what is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning? Like, take yourself out of it and look at it as if it was, a game or a story or a situation or whatever unfolding, but not happening to you. You're watching it unfolding and saying, what is this character? What is this avatar, this person supposed to be learning? And maybe try looking at it from that perspective, and that'll help push this indecision. So, all right, what is your romance card? Calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. With this, if this sort of narrative is about a romantic relationship and you're kind of at that point of indecision, maybe you're in a relationship, but you've been praying and hoping and manifesting a different situation. This is kind of that path of, the tower is going to happen and then somebody new is coming in. If this indecision is about a work situation, you could swap out this soulmate as being a better job offer. But it kind of seems like this is the sense that I'm getting here, is that this is a situation to do with romantic relationships. So, tower. And again, whether that means that the tower is going to be happening to you, or whether that is the push from spirit to say, let that tower happen, and stuck in this indecision, let the tower happen. Don't struggle against it. Don't fight against it. Sometimes that's a natural course of life. And in the progression of the Major Arcana, the tower is one of the cards, that happens in there, that you have this massive change, and then you have this newfound hope and realization, after that, maybe about what's really important to you, what path you want to be on. So that was for Earth. Now we are moving on to our water signs, and that is our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So what is in store for you for today, Monday, July 24th? The High Priestess. Your High Priestess energy, that's that higher consciousness, divine feminine, inner wisdom, kind of connecting with your intuition. And let's see what soul journey affirmation card you have. Change. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. And sitting in that divine feminine type of energy and that higher consciousness, that inner wisdom, it's really helping to see that for you, to see that, yes, sometimes things just need to change, and having that internal peace that, yes, it's changing, but it's changing for the better. Something better is coming along. So if you've been trying to work on manifesting, it's important that if you're trying to manifest something very specific, like a very specific job, maybe you've been interviewing for it and you're trying to manifest that comes through, or you're trying to manifest a relationship, like a specific person, it's always important that at the end of the manifestation, when you're calling in for that situation, saying, or better. Because the universe may have something better in store for you than you can imagine, or that you're aware of. So always, whatever it is that you've decided that you're going to try to manifest, throw in those little words in there, or better. Let's see what your Sacred Creator card is saying. soul on fire. And that's really having to do with what is your passion? What lights you up? What is it that you really want to do? And this is really coming through as a very peaceful sense of transition, that from the high priestess standpoint, you've thought about it, you've reflected on it, you've tried to decide what is it that you want to do with your life and what is setting your soul on fire. And you've come to that place of understanding of, okay, well, if that's what I want, some things are going to have to change, but this is what I'm being drawn towards. And, so the interesting thing is with that, if you compare it to the other, I guess, line that we just did for Earth, where it's that indecision and there's the tower moment, they kind of contrast a little bit. That with the Earth signs, it was more, the message was coming in that you're resisting this change. You don't really want it. You don't know. You're unsure. And the universe sends it in as a tower to change things. Versus with the water signs, it's coming across that, yeah, there's a change, but you're sitting in it from that inner wisdom of knowing that things are going to work out, that the universe has a plan, has a structure, and so it has a more peaceful feel in terms of transition and change. Let's see what romance card for you. Finances and career. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now, and that could be part of this change. And with the soul on fire, from a career standpoint, what lights you up? It may not necessarily be what brings you the most amount of money, but if it lights you up and it gives you that peace and that happiness every day, you have to balance that out for your situation. Can you take a pay cut and still feel comfortable and have that sense of peace in your day-to-day life? So that is what's happening for the water signs. And we'll go ahead and wrap things up with our air signs, our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and see what message is coming through for you. Well, the card that flipped over there was the Lover's card. And usually I'll do a second card when it's a kind of a jumper flip out type of card. The Chariot. So the Chariot, that is that fast moving energy. So it has to do with change, forward progress. Things are going in the right direction. And in most cases, the Lover's card is actually about a romantic relationship. But as always, take only what resonates with you and your situation, whether that's a new person coming in. Like if you're single, maybe there's going to be a quick new change. Or if you're not, if you're already in a committed relationship, some good, closeness, bonding, good progression with your relationship. Maybe you've had kind of a little bit of a rocky phase or something, and it's really about reconnecting, quickly moving through that and getting to that happy place. Let's see what your soul journey affirmation card is. Patience. I accept that everything happens in divine order. When you try to control the outcome too much, that's usually when you experience more problems. So if you kind of can take that step back and let things happen, they'll happen more quickly for you than if you are trying to direct it to go a certain way too much. All right, let's see what your Sacred Creator card is. Fall in love with your own story. And that's really important too, in terms of what is the story that you're telling yourself every day. The energy that you're feeding to your subconscious. And sometimes your subconscious and the universe have a tough time differentiating between what is actually happening and what you are telling yourself is happening. So that's that whole thing of those who say they can't and those who say they can, both are usually right. If the story that you're telling yourself day in and day out is, life is just so hard because I had XYZ happened to me, or, I just can't find the right person, from a relationship standpoint. I just can't find the right person because, I'm just not good enough. Whatever that story is that you're telling yourself, that's the energy that's going to come back at you. So if that's going to happen, why not tell a good story, tell a better story, a story that you can fall in love with. It doesn't mean that there's going to be no hiccups or no obstacles, but, how often do you watch a movie or read a book where everything is absolutely smooth and no hiccups? The stories that you get drawn into are the ones where there's something that the main character has to overcome, and it's like, oh yeah, they did it. So you fall in love with those types of stories. So if you have a tough situation, rather than visualizing yourself being stuck in the suck, visualize yourself, or tell yourself the story of how you get out of it, how you find the solution. Play out that solution in your head. Pep yourself up for, oh yeah, this is terrible, but this is how I get out of it. So let's see what romance card is in store for our air signs. Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. Air signs. This patience. With your patience card, I accept that everything happens in divine order, which is another way of saying in divine timing. And then with your love life card, divine timing is at work in your love life. And this goes back to a comment that I had made earlier about, oftentimes people want to, they're in a bad situation. They know what they want. And, I want to get from here to here. I don't want to deal with the middle part. I just want to go from here to here. But a lot of times the part that you're learning in the middle, where you have to have patience, the part that you're learning in the middle is how to reprogram your brain, how to, reprogram that inner story so that you learn the lesson. Because if every time an obstacle comes up, you go from here to here and you don't do the work in the middle, you don't have the middle piece of it, you're probably going to keep repeating these problems, keep repeating these scenarios over and over again because you're not taking the time to learn the lesson. You're just skipping over that and saying beginning, outcome, beginning, outcome. So this divine timing and this patience is sit in the moment, sit in the uncomfortable feeling, in the unhappiness, and learn that lesson so that when you get to this point, for one, you can appreciate what you went through to get to this point. Kind of like the whole thing of if you have to work hard for something, you appreciate it more versus if you just have to hand it to you. And it's kind of the same with the spiritual growth side and with learning your lessons. If you have to go through the crummy part of it, the uncomfortable part of it, you learn your lesson better so that you don't repeat it again. Regardless of what the lesson is. If it's, you burn your hand on the stove, if all of a sudden you go from, ow, this is burnt to, magical elixir that's on it, and 2 seconds later you're fine, you're really not learning not to touch the stove because there was no consequence in there. There was no bad part you had to sit through, versus if it hurt for 3 days or whatever before you started feeling better, you probably will retain that lesson better in the long run. And it's funny because actually with that one, I remember it with my son, at that toddler age, and, they're going around touching everything, and the glass front on the fireplace was not turned on, but, the pilot light makes it a little bit warm, and, tell him 25 times, don't touch it, it's hot, don't touch it, it's hot. And then, lo and behold, he got his fingers to it and, never touched it again after that. So I could tell him 25 times not to do it, but until he did it and there was a consequence, he didn't learn that lesson. So that's kind of the same thing here with, be patient. If you're struggling with something, know that that's a lesson that you're supposed to be learning. And I guess the more you focus on learning, healing, what to do next time, the faster the healing process is going to be, and the better you'll learn that lesson to get to that outcome that you're working towards. So, as always, take only what resonates from the reading and leave the rest behind. But I hope this has been helpful. And if this message has been helpful for you, definitely I encourage you to share it with somebody else that you think might enjoy the message or find it to be helpful. And I'll be back again tomorrow to do another reading. I'll also be doing a twin flame collective reading where I read for the divine feminine, divine masculine, and then the bridging energies. And also then coming up in about a week or so, I'll be doing the sign specific readings for the first half of August. So there's some of those that are coming up, but make sure to like and subscribe so that way you can get notifications when these other new videos are going to be posting. So until then, I wish you peace and joy along your journey, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.